The NBA is dying. It's been dropping for years now. It could be due to failed player marketing and established legends getting ready to retire. It could be the burst in sports media and the idiocy that comes with everyone having an opinion. It could be increased politics, player-to-player movement, and new super teams being formed every 5 minutes. It could be as simple as load managing deterring fans from wasting their money. All we know is it's dying. For all the young talent we have, none have stepped forward to lead the league the way LeBron has for the past 2 decades, the same way Kobe did before him, and the same way Mike did before him. No one has captivated the fans the same way they did. There's hope for Wemby, but that's yet to be seen. But what if we didn't have to wait for them to grab the audience? What if young players could come in with an audience already built? What if in the draft we could hear, with the first pick of the 2023 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Duke Dennis from AMP? See, while the NBA has been dying, content creators and influencers are more alive than ever. Just look at this clip.
We gotta show that there's different examples, even what y'all do through AMP. Like, man, I saw this kid in New York, man. Like, I was cutting in New York last week, and there was a young kid, he was like 8 years old, bro, and ran into me at Central Park. He had his football, like flag football shit on. He's like, man, I watch your videos, bro. I was like, man, I appreciate that. I was like, what you want to be when you grow up? You want to go to the NFL? He said, nah, man, I want to be a football content creator.
Yo, that's like, crazy.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Like, you don't want to go to the NFL, bro? Like, now I want to have a YouTube channel.
With the rise of influencers, their popularity is at an all-time high, and currently towards the top of the hill is AMP. In the few short years they've been together, they've enthralled the hearts of fans all over the world, breaking records, creating trends, and being the culture. On top of them already being dripped into NBA content, this would be the perfect time to take the next step, and we could have a draft class that looks like this. Duke Dennis, D-Block Duke, AMP Duke, Dookie Pookie, whatever you want to call him, he is eye-grabbing, electrifying, jaw-dropping, and overall generational. There are people who upload more frequently than him, there are people who make better content than him, but he is the generational one. The same applies for basketball. There are people who train more than him, there are people who are simply better than him, but his talent is generational. With many people claiming he doesn't train at all, his ability is astounding. We've all seen the athleticism, his strength, his agility, etc., but how he uses them to create his game breeds resemblance to all-time greats. First, his athleticism paired with his size and strength give him great slashing ability. His strength basically shrugs off most contact even with bigger players. And even if you question his finishing ability, his ability to rebound, to either snag it out of the air or tip it on a second or third jump, shows the competitive hustle and drive needed in any recruit. Further out, his shot field is great. He's great with difficult shots in the mid-range, he's decent at free, plays defense, and is overall a great prospect. But what I really enjoy is his ability to take over games. You can solely rely on him to carry you in games. We saw it against OTF, we saw it against RDC, we see it every time he's on a team, and now we'll see it on the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, the Spurs could use any player at this point. Just look at that starting 5. They have Devin Vassell at the 2, so acquiring a player who I would personally compare to prime Derrick Rose would do wonders for them. Chris Nexdorian, Mr. Half Man, Half Machine, has the most potential of anyone on the team. He has the most potential as a YouTuber, as a streamer, as an artist, and especially as a basketball player. I would have Chris going to Washington, because not only is he from there making him a hometown hero, but what they're building over there fits with him perfectly. Him being a 6'2" athletic guard next to Jordan Poole would fit well because not only would he work off ball with Poole's playmaking, but he can also create his own shot as a primary ball handler. When he's on the ball, he's extremely patient, taking his time while he looks for the right shot, and because his handle is so tight, the likelihood it results in a turnover is very low. This doesn't directly make him a ball stopper, and he definitely wouldn't be in this system. He's more versed in the mid-range, so that's where he'd mainly operate, but with Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, and potentially Denny Advia running around, it would diversify and create a great dynamic between the team. To top it off, he adds some much-needed defense, as he's so physically imposing and overall athletic. Even if he isn't technically sound, it's not going to be an easy night for the offense. One of his concerns is his shooting at the 3, but his main concern would be his injury, because since he tore his ACL, he hasn't participated in anything physical, and the way he bounces back would be his determining factor. His NBA comparison is DeMar DeRozan. KC3 is going to New Orleans because the way that team is built, they not only need to move on from Zion, but from the current construction of the team. McCallum doesn't need to be the lead guard. He's more comfortable and more talented at the 2, so putting Kai in at the 1 would help them a lot. Initially, what he adds as a player is okay. He can hit shots every now and again. He's extremely undersized, standing at 5'4", 150 pounds. He isn't crazy athletic, has questionable hand-eye coordination. You can't even compare him to Muggsy Bogues or Spud Webb because their ball handling and basketball acumen is crazy, where Kai's simply isn't. But what he does have is his hustle, his grit and grind, his dependability. Consistently in AMP challenges and games, whenever he's outmatched, he knows his limits and consistently pushes them. For the Pelicans, Kyle would actively scan the floor trying to get everyone involved, as while he can't contribute much as a scorer, he can do simple things. He can set back screens, draw his defender away, cut to the basket, tie laces together, bait fouls, get in players' heads, etc, etc. Just like his comparison, Patrick, playing champ, Beverley. Ay, Phantom, fucking hell. I failed to do this whole bit in Spanish, but I digress. His build is interesting. He really doesn't excel at anything. He might not be good at anything. He's unathletic, his coordination is questionable, he doesn't rebound well, he's not a good slasher, his handle is arse, he doesn't have a post game, his lateral quickness is shaky, he can't play make, his passing is inaccurate, he really can't hoop. But there is one thing he has going for him. As of the recording of April 28th, 2020, Phantom is the official AMP 3-point specialist, beating out 4 of the current 5 members for the honor. On top of that, simply being an energy guy is valuable for a lot of teams. So which teams need energetic snipers? Basically everyone. But what team can cover his excessive flaws? I see him on the Boston Celtics. There, he wouldn't have to be a defensive dynamo on the second best defense in the league. Plus having a 6'5" Malcolm Brogdon means he wouldn't hurt the backcourt defense as much. For the playmaking aspect, Malcolm Brogdon can handle a major load, but you can also teach Phantom to make simple plays as he's quite coachable. Overall, he'd be there to hit a couple shots, laugh in a couple players' face, then go back to the bench. I'll give him the comparison of a significantly worse JJ Redick. So, Agent 000. What team doesn't need a 5'11", 230-pound primary post scorer? I mean, especially with that forehead, he's always given a contest. But in all seriousness, Agent is probably the 3rd best player in AMP because he's very decent at a lot of things, which meshes with his competitiveness to mold his game. Look in the AMP basketball video. We see Kai being over-aggressive and consistently hustling to take Agent down. Agent simply leans up against the wall to make it hard on Kai to take him down, while still giving him a clear view of the ring. In one simple move, he's taken an overactive defender out of the game and given his teammates more space to operate. This is the type of critical thinking necessary in all aspects of life, especially in basketball. If you can't adapt consistently and create an advantage, you're going to struggle. And the Houston Rockets desperately need this adaptability. They had the worst offense in the league because they run a stale and stagnant offense. So in adding Agent, you've essentially added a better coach on the floor. Paired with the fact that he can slightly space the floor and isn't a scoring liability, easily being able to take bigger players to the rim, I would compare him to Mr. Slow-Mo himself, Kyle Anderson. Davis is 100% the little bro of the group. It's tough seeing him get pushed, pressed, slammed, and dragged around the AMP house. But on the court, he is very untouchable, easily being the best shot creator of the group. He has moves which he consistently uses, but he can easily go with the flow of however the game is being played. I think this is because of, again, how competitive he is. He's never scared to drive to the rim or challenge players despite his stature and unholy balance. He can work on his coordination as he currently has a 4-minute compilation of him falling down on YouTube, but this doesn't detract from his talents of being a shot creator, which would be best utilized on the Brooklyn Nets. With the defensive lineup of Mikal Bridges and Ben Simmons, both recent Defensive Player of the Year candidates, would easily cover his defensive flaws. But the secret benefit of adding Davis is that with Davis and Cam Thomas's scoring ability, they would form a Luka and Kyrie-esque backcourt, in turn rounding out a lot of the Nets' flaws, all by adding a player in Davis who I would compare to Lou Will. Now that's 6 AMP members up and 6 AMP members down. Now we must discuss what would be accomplished from doing this. This move would be straight for viewer engagement. Especially with an expansion recently announced, the NBA has to do something drastic to bring in new viewers, and this move would work easily. Off the strengths of themselves, they bring in hundreds upon thousands upon millions of viewers. Now if you add the NBA behind them, it would only go up. We don't have to see them as exclusively entertainment pieces either. We've seen players with worse bases thrive in the NBA. Steve Francis only started playing basketball 3 years before he was drafted, and he had an extensive career, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility for them to contribute to a team. Obviously, influencers are already making a drastic impact on the world. From the impact that KSI and Joe Weller brought to boxing alone, we can see amateurs pull millions upon millions in sales while making videos from their bedrooms. And this impact is currently expanding to the world of basketball. We're seeing players being interviewed by YouTubers they grew up on. So taking one more step into this territory could blow the league into a proportion they could have never imagined. I mean, this NBA app isn't going to do a thing, so why not let Duke Dennis do it? I mean, he helped create the sport after all, but if you want to see where other basketball YouTubers would go in last year's draft, click this video here. If you like the video, like the video. If you don't, subscribe if you want, and I'm done. Okay, bye.